Hey guys, what's going on? So in today's video, we're going to be discussing gear substats, or as the game calls them, options. Every piece of gear can have different options available to it, making it pretty difficult to get the exact 4 options you want, but at the same time, it makes it so where you can have near infinite combinations of substats to choose from when building a hero. There are 13 in total, but let's start with the 4 most sought after substats first. You can call these the best. These are attack. This increases your attack power. The higher this is, the more damage you can deal. Attack speed. This increases the rate of your auto attack and skill casting speed. Because you get mana through auto attacks, this will also increase your mana gain. Crit. This increases your chance to land a critical hit. And finally, we have crit damage, which obviously increases the damage of a critical hit. A single piece of gear with all 4 of these substats is considered perfect, and of course is only achievable with legendary gear, aka dragon gear. Also, guild raid gear, but that's never really worth going for. The reason these substats are so sought after is because almost all heroes benefit more from those 4 substats than the other 9. These stats are the most important for your DPS role for obvious reasons, but even healers want these stats. That's because the amount a healer heals is based off their attack power, and also the fact that heals can crit, and will heal even more based on crit damage. The only heroes you don't want these stats on, besides a few rare exceptions, are tanks, and tanks that you want to tank. There are also some offensive tanks, so we can't rule them all in, but as a general rule, tanks want mostly the other options. With that being said, let's introduce the next 2 substats. First being penetration. This increases the damage you deal based off of enemies' defense. Until the enemies you're fighting have extremely high defense, attack is still considered better for damage than penetration. In some of the latest content, like Chapter 7 Hell Mode, penetration will help a lot due to the very high defense there. Other than that though, it is an optional substat. And besides that, we have lifesteal. This is a vital substat for most heroes as well, but you really only need 1 line of it in your whole setup, or 10 to 11%. So you can have 3 perfect pieces of gear, and only 1 piece of gear with lifesteal swapped in instead of another stat. Depending on the hero, I'll forego crit damage, or attack speed on a piece of gear to get the line of lifesteal. So the final setup would look something like this. Lifesteal is most important for DPS or anyone who deals enough damage to actually heal themselves with it, so in most cases, tanks and healers won't benefit too much from it unless they are very offensive tanks or healers. The healer in your party won't have a heal ready at all times, so in case of a big enemy AoE attack, it's important your damage dealers can look after themselves sometimes. With that being said, let's move on to the other 7 options. These are P-Dodge, which increases your chance to dodge physical attacks, P-Block increases the chance to block most of the damage from a physical attack, P-Defense reduces damage from physical attacks, M-Defense, which reduces damage from magical attacks, HP, which obviously increases HP, Accuracy increases the chance to hit the enemy, and CC Resist decreases the chance to get hit by CC, such as stun, knockdown, silence, etc. For the most part, these are reserved for your tanks. Generally, the 4 substats you want are P-Block, P-Def, M-Def, and HP. Since tanks are now the only class that have no base accuracy, you want 1 option of that as well, somewhere in your gear, to give them 10 to 11%. But that's just generally. Some tanks rely on certain stats, like Claws and Demia rely on P-Block for some of their features to work better, and some others like Castle and Nyla like P-Dodge instead, so it'll be up to you to look over your heroes and see what would benefit them the most. As far as CC Resist is concerned, it's more of an arena thing. Of course, having more CC Resist means you'll get CC'd less, but in most content, it's not the end of the world to get stunned for a few seconds. In arena, however, that can be the entire duration of the battle, so for super important arena units, it might be a good idea to reserve some spaces for CC Resist. Some of note are Baudouin and Leo. Many people stack CC Resist on them to avoid having their very important skills cancelled mid-cast. And that's pretty much it. Let's do a quick recap. The recap will assume the hero has their unique weapon, since I'm only counting 4 gears worth of substats. If you don't have the unique weapon, you can use the weapon's substats to further boost important stats or fill in the missing pieces. Anyway, for your damage dealers, you want 4 attack options, 3 to 4 attack speed options, 3 to 4 crit options, 3 to 4 crit damage options, 1 lifesteal option, and 0 to 2 penetration options. For your sub damage dealers like Priscilla, Maria, etc., you want the same, but more leaning towards not having any penetration at all. For healers, it really depends. For someone like Frey, you really want the most attack possible to make her bubbles stronger, but crit and crit damage aren't so important. Her single target heal should heal enough without it critting. You may also want to stack CC Resist on her so her CC resisting bubble casting doesn't get interrupted. Healers like Laius and Cassandra though have a much weaker AoE heal, so they may need the same substats as your DPS, minus the lifesteal and penetration. For general purpose, I recommend 4 attack options, 3 to 4 attack speed options, 0 to 4 crit options, 0 to 4 crit damage options, and 0 to 4 CC resist options. And for tanks, again, it depends, but in general, I'd recommend 4 HP options, 3 to 4 P block options or P dodge options, 3 to 4 P defense options, 3 to 4 M defense options, and 1 accuracy option. And yeah, that'll do it. Not too much else to say in regards to substats, except that I wouldn't care too much about them until at least you start wearing T6 gear. At that point, you can try and get half perfect gear or 3/4 perfect gear for your heroes. Once you start farming T7 dragon gear, of course you want perfect gear, but finding the perfect piece is insanely rare, so many settle with 3/4 perfect still, and just hold off on 5-starring it until they come across a perfect piece. If you do find a piece of gear with 3 out of 4 substats you want, you can also take it to the forge and use rubies to change the undesirable substat. Again, I would never ever spend rubies on reforging unless it's a T7 dragon piece, and even then, in most cases, it would need to be a vital stat that's missing, like attack or crit. If you have any questions, concerns, disagreements, or other suggestions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Leaving a like if you enjoyed would also be greatly appreciated. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.